Fox has won the Democratic primary. Let's listen in.
Who has been my partner in life and in this journey since I was a junior, my last year of law school, to where we are today. I thank you and I honor you. To my children who are with me, who I've missed many a practice or an event that they find very funny. I want to thank them for their patience and their enduring love in all of this. To my family who is here, my father, my brother, my stepmother, and all, I'm grateful. To our campaign staff who worked very hard over the course of the last several months in a battle against dollars that were being poured into this. It was about the mission and the vision and the values that we had for Cook County, that it didn't matter how much money had poured into this race. They were touching every voter about issues that mattered to them. To our volunteers, so many of them who gave up their time and their energy and their treasure to support this work. The mothers who lost children to gun violence, who sat and met with me to talk about the issues that mattered. I am honored and humbled for that support. To everyone who rallied around this race that made it bigger than one thing, one issue, who rejected the notion that we would talk about one singular case and not what mattered to the people of Cook County, and put everything on the line for this, I thank you. So James Baldwin once stated, if one really wishes to know how justice is administered in a country, one does not question the policemen, the lawyers, the judges, or the protected members of the middle class. One goes to the unprotected, those precisely who needs the law's protection the most, and they listen to their testimony. Over the last 4 years, I have listened to their testimonies. The grieving mother whose son was shot in the head, and he lay dying in the streets while she struggled to find justice. The wife whose husband was convicted for a crime in which he did not commit, and the devastation that her children felt. The Black trans woman who was viciously assaulted, but afraid to report, fearful that the system would cause more harm. The student who was trying to expunge a low-level marijuana conviction so she could apply for a student loan. Or the grandmother who held weekly bake sales, trying to raise enough money to get her granddaughter the $500 in bail money she needed to get out of jail for a nonviolent, low-level offense. Over the last 4 years, I've heard these testimonies and created policies that address those who are most deeply impacted. This has meant prioritizing our resources to address gun violence in our neighborhoods through innovative partnerships with the community. For example, our Gun Crime Strategies Unit was created to meet our communities where they are and work collaboratively with them to prevent crime rather than simply reacting in the aftermath. These efforts have led to historic reductions in violent crime in these neighborhoods across Chicago. We've been righting the wrongs of the past by vacating the convictions of the wrongfully accused as part of our commitment to justice. This is why my office has overturned over 100 cases in the last 3.5 years. Cook County labored under the moniker of the false confession capital of the United States. That means that people were tortured and abused until they confessed to crimes they did not commit. And yet now we lead the country in the vacating of wrongful convictions. This includes the cases of corrupt police Sergeant Watts, who preyed upon people living in the Ida B. Wells housing projects. His actions had a generational impact on those who witnessed his crimes, and we have worked to restore their faith in our justice system. We have advocated for and legislated the vacating of expungement of thousands of cannabis convictions, which have prevented Cook County residents from accessing opportunities for jobs, housing, and student loans. Today, these residents are able to fully engage in our economy and our communities. This action alone will lead to increased public safety and a chance to break the generational cycles of poverty. I want to help make Cook County an even more inclusive and thriving community where everyone is welcome. That's why I took on the Trump administration and his racist and xenophobic agenda that targeted immigrant communities. I took the Trump administration to court to protect our sanctuary county status. Also fighting rules aimed to deny visas to undocumented residents and refusing to cooperate with ICE in their efforts to spread fear in our most vulnerable communities. But transformative change is never easy. Tonight, the voters have once again spoken and are calling us to continue our mandate of criminal justice reform. They are calling us to continue to make Cook County a model for this country. I pledge to keep pushing for that change that is fair, that is just, that is equitable, while keeping our communities safe. Each time we pick up a paper or watch the news and see a statistic about a shooting or a death, we must force ourselves to not merely see numbers, but rather people who can impact our world, people who could be future epidemiologists or social workers or teachers. My mother could have never imagined that her daughter, a child of Greeny Green, could one day be elected as the first African-American woman to serve as Cook County State's Attorney. Yet every day, we lose a life to violence in Roseland, Robbins, or Little Village. We lose the life of someone who could fundamentally change our world. We must see the human lives beyond the numbers and believe in the potential of all Cook County residents. There was an effort to make this election about one big case involving a celebrity. The voters have overwhelmingly put that fallacy to rest. The truth is, our office handles urgent cases every day, many that go unreported. The sexual assault survivor whose abuser was held accountable. The domestic violence survivor who sought protection for herself and her children. The son of an elderly man who was shot while tending to his father's yard. The classmates of a 9-year-old boy executed in an alley. Or the family of a fallen officer murdered in the line of duty. This is the work of the Cook County State's Attorney's Office. These are the people who dedicate themselves every day ensuring healthy, safe, and thriving communities. This is the work that often doesn't make headlines, but impacts so many lives. It is this work that the people of Cook County have entrusted in our office, which I have been so honored and so humbled to lead. And that work continues. We must address the public health crisis of substance use disorder that has claimed more lives in Cook County than gun violence. We must meaningfully address the intersection of mental health and criminal justice. We have far too many people struggling with mental health and far too resources to help them. We must continue to address the epidemic of violence in our communities by acknowledging trauma and its role in that violence. We must continue to lead the charge towards a justice system that is fair and just and equitable for all. It is why I am so incredibly humbled and honored to receive this nomination today to continue that fight, and grateful to stand here with my family. It's the embodiment of what's possible. We invest in all of our residents. Thank you so very, very much.
State's Attorney Kim Foxx claiming vindication and claiming voters have rejected the narrative around the Jussie Smollett case. The special prosecutor, Dan Webb, though, still has a grand jury impaneled and has filed charges, new charges against Mr. Smollett. So that will continue to play out over this rest of the year. And she pointed once again to public safety as a top priority of hers. Now, since she took office in December of 2016, the number of murders is down about 30%. But in year to year so far this year, they're up more than 50% so far this year over last year. So the killings will also be an issue and sure to be seized upon by this man, Patrick O'Brien, retired circuit court judge here in Cook County, who has won overwhelmingly the nomination of the Republican Party. For what that's worth, hasn't been a Republican who's won countywide in Cook County in quite a long time. Mr. O'Brien has certainly a big job in front of him.